today's blood-curdling, bone-chilling review. Courtesy of the review spot, today's spooky spot, we're going to be having a look at the Diamond Select Universal Studios, home of the original monsters. We're looking at the Minimates of Dracula and Dr. Van Helsing. A fantastic set. Picked this up at Toys R Us. I have to give props, mad props as it were, to Toys R Us for continuing to stock Minimates. While we don't unfortunately carry everything in Canada, unfortunately we usually carry very little, I always can rely and depend on my local Toys R Us for getting Minimates. And this year, they came through once again. Mad props to you, Toys R Us, for getting in the Minimates. Today we're looking at Dracula and Van Helsing. Down below, you got the logo, the Universal Studios, home of the original monsters, with Frankenstein's monster down below. Comes to us also from Universal, right at the top there. On the back, other figures that you can get, or other Minimates you can get in the set. Dr. Van Helsing, we've got Dr. Henry Frankenstein, the Bride of Frankenstein. We've got a villager, we've got Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, and then we have a black and white version of them as well. How cool is that? I know. The read-up on Dracula says, sleeping in a coffin by day and preying on beautiful women by night, the man called Count Dracula is not a man, but a vampire. Following his voyage from the mountains of Transylvania to London, the 1931 Universal Studios adaptation of Bram Stoker's novel remains the most iconic. It certainly does. Lon Chaney, I think. Dr. Van Helsing, a doctor of many specialities, Abraham Van Helsing will not dismiss even the most extraordinary diagnosis of his patients if he thinks it is the correct one. And when all signs point to a vampire plague, he's ready to hunt down the source of the infection himself. Attaboy, Van Helsing. Attaboy. In fact, memory serves me. I think the last time I even reviewed a Van Helsing was last Halloween. And it was for those Van Helsing toys from the... sorry, I had to keep the vomit down. The Hugh Jackman movie, Van Helsing. Oh, Spot, you rip into that movie so much. What we're going to do, though, is take a break. I'm going to get these two opened up. And we're going to have a look at the two Minimates. Stay tuned, guys. If you dare, there is more on the way. And if you're still with us, we've got the Minimates out of package. Before we actually look at the Minimates, there is a nice little pamphlet. You know what? We can't even see it, Spot. Zoom back. Got a little pamphlet of the Minimates. Looking very nice. Got ourselves a list of me, Mummy, Werewolf, Bride of Frankenstein, Dracula, Creature from the Black Lagoon. There's a little displayer there. Wish they could have actually released the displayer. That would have been nice. Nice little backdrop for these figures. You'll also notice that I said Frankenstein and not Frankenstein's monster. I do not buy into the concept, my friends. Join in with me, this nonsense that we speak of. I don't buy into the idea that Pluto is not a planet, tomato is a fruit, and I certainly don't buy into the idea of calling him always Frankenstein's monster. Surely, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, if you watch the sequels of Frankenstein, they're never called Frankenstein's monster versus the werewolf or the Wolfman. It's never called Bride of Frankenstein's monster. You don't need to get silly with the idea of having an attack on Frankenstein's monster every single time. I'm just going to call it Frankenstein. Let the comments begin. Let the comments begin down below. Dude, it's called Frankenstein's monster. No, it's Frankenstein. I'm just going to call it Frankenstein. That's what I'm doing. I'm making a stand right now. Ironically, I don't know why, during a Dracula review, but I'm making a stand right now saying Frankenstein. Think of me what you will. Frankenstein. Anyways, we're getting off topic here. Let's have a look at the Minimates. One thing that unfortunately is missing from this set, which I think would have been nice, somewhat, is at least some accessories. Something. You would think, if anything, the Van Helsing Minimate, as I pick him up right here, you would think, if anything, he could have at least come with a stake, a hammer, perhaps a little vampire bag, but they give him nothing. Nothing at all. I don't know what he's supposed to be doing with this vampire, this Dracula, if he's got no weapons. Perhaps he could just eat garlic and breathe on him. Get away from me, you stink. Really, he's not going to do anything. It would have been nice if they had given him some weapons. At least a stake. At least a stake. But I guess maybe they would have been too small. Who knows? Let's zoom in to Van Helsing. And again, if I told you it was Van Helsing, you would believe me. But I think not a lot of people maybe... You know, if you look at Van Helsing, or you think of Van Helsing, I think Van Helsing could look like a lot of different things to different people. In this case, he's an old gentleman who apparently looks like Edward James Olmos. I didn't know that. I figured when I was reading Dracula or watching Bram Stoker's movie, I really had no idea that he was actually Edward James Olmos. But apparently, according to this mini-mate, Edward James Olmos. Cylon scum. I guess the only thing he's really missing is a mustache. Or, of course, he hasn't had a mustache in a couple of seasons. But anyways, I'm getting off topic. Spot, where are you going? This review is getting way off topic. As you can see, Van Helsing is wearing a very nice jacket. Got himself some glasses going on there so he can see the vampire. Just basic black. Nothing really to be said about Van Helsing. I could say that you could take his hair off. I say that, and can I actually do it? There we go. So if you want, you can have a bald Van Helsing if you want as well. As always, figures the Minimates don't have noses, so don't be alarmed the fact that Van Helsing here doesn't have a nose. It's alright. I mean, the Van Helsing is just alright. If anything, I'm only collecting the Minimates really for the monsters. I think the monsters are the cooler aspect. These little side characters. Again, if I ever lost this guy and I found him later on and I pick him up, I'd be like, who is this guy? This gray-haired guy. Did I buy some Battlestar Galactica Minimates? Apparently I did. In the way of articulation, as with any other Minimate, they have a ball-jointed head, which is extremely stiff on this figure. He is also wearing one of the torso extra pieces here, so he's a little bulkier than what a normal Minimate would be, which would also mean that his head isn't going to move up and down like it would with most Minimates. His shoulders are on a ball joint, so the arms can go out, as you can see here. They can rotate back and forth. You can bend at the elbow. You can rotate their little tiny hands, their little Minimate hands. You can rotate at the waist. The legs are also on a ball joint, so you can bend them forward. You can bend them back. You can bend them out. You can also kind of rotate the legs too, so if you want to just have them doing something silly, I don't know, you can do that. You can bend them at the knee, like so. And you can finally bend them at the foot. And there you have Van Helsing. Now if you ask me again, I would only really get the set. The set really is crucial for me for these guys here, the monsters. It's going to put Minimate, you know what, we'll sit him down. Sit down. Edward James Olmos. We're done looking at you. And let's have a look at Dracula. Count Dracula. He looks very cool. This guy, if anything, again, any reason to get this set, I would say it's for this guy right here. He looks very cool. Wearing what you would predict, or what you would assume the vampires or Count Dracula to be wearing, a cape, kind of that, like, jacket. Long-tailed. In this case, he doesn't have a long tail, but he's usually got the jacket with the white shirt underneath. Spot's horrible at describing vampire clothing. You know, that white shirt, and he's got some red necklace and stuff like that. Again, all black, but you'll notice inside he's got a red interior, which isn't completely done, as you can see. There are some paint issues, but aside, overall, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And again, his hair can come off if you'd like. Doesn't really have as much effect, if you ask me, without his hair. There you go. Same articulation would apply. The fact that he's got the cape really doesn't hinder any sort of articulation in the arms. His head is a little, I mean, his head pretty much is staction because you can't really move it around the collar here. But the legs can bend out and knee can bend and everything else like that. It's a great set. I mean, it's a great set. This guy really is the reason I would say get the set. This guy, the Van Helsing, is all right. Again, weapons would have been nice to include in this set, but you know what? It is what it is at the end of the day. I still really like the Dracula. And you know what? Let's just give a rating. Let's just throw out a rating for both of the guys in the set. No sense in reviewing or giving individual ratings. A terrifying rating to give for the Van Helsing and Dracula 2-pack. I would give him a terrifying 7. More so for this guy, not so much for this guy. Today's spooky spot, we're having a look at the Diamond Select Universal Studios home of the Universal Monsters. We're having a look at the Minimates featuring Dracula and this guy right here, Dr. Van Helsing. I thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more spooky spots to come. There is more. There is much more, my friends. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.